Welcome to Comicstorian, a product of Eligible Monster. Now you're probably wondering, what is Comicstorian?
Ever sat through a game and wondered, what the hell is happening to my continuity? So many game series just make a game and stick it in any place they want to in the story, and it can be a little confusing at times. Well, we're gonna help you set things straight with the true plot, the not so true plot, those odds and bits and wobblies that all seem to crop up all the time. Today's game series is Metal Gear, and obviously, there's gonna be spoilers.
Hey guys, quick little thing for you that I meant to mention at the beginning of this video. I really seem to poorly be advertising things, Rob.
Yeah, you always forget to do it.
Yeah, so we end up like slapping it in there. Rob and I have relaunched the Eligible Monster gaming channel, where it's me, Natalie, and Rob facing off against each other in various games and tons of stupidity and stuff. You get to see Rob punch like this in arms. He's really funny and humorous.
That's not how I punch.
That's exactly how he punches.
That is not how I punch.
So you can watch him take off against Natalie there, then me and Natalie play a bunch of games, and very soon Rob and I are going to take on each other in Injustice. But if you want to help us and you want to support the two of us, please go on over to the Eligible Monster channel. It's our gaming channel, and we would love to see you there joining the fun that is going on.
Go on over there.
Hey Rob, you know that skit we're about to do where I pretend I didn't know you were here?
Nope.
But we need to interrupt it because I forgot to talk about the new t-shirts right here at Comicstorian.
Well, I really want to know about these t-shirts.
Okay, yeah, so what it is, it's a Comicstorian t-shirt. It's Spider-Man swinging towards you. He's wearing headphones and it goes thwip thwip. It's really awesome. I would have them to show you, but I'm making this video long before they actually arrived at the house here. So we'll have them later.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah, no, and you should totally get one too and then walk around with a Comicstorian shirt.
That's not going to happen.
Welcome to the R&B Podcast.
R&B Podcast.
R&B Podcast. As you guys can see, I don't know where to look. I guess I shouldn't look at any cameras now. I'm going to look at my camera.
Yeah, I'm looking at my camera over there.
As you guys can see, we now have the triple camera setup. We are professional vodcasters now.
Yeah, we're professional in the sense that we're in your basement.
Right.
And we're
Why did you have to tell them we're in my basement? As far as they know, we're in a studio.
we're in a professional production studio.
This is the professional vodcast
We
studio.
spent a lot of money on this studio.
We did spend a lot of
You
money in the
have
studio.
to believe me.
And since we spent a lot of money in the studio, if you want this vodcast to continue, then what you need to do is go check out the new Comicstorian shirt, the Crack-a-cacoom shirt.
I don't even have my own shirt.
We're going to make you one. And we're going to make an
I
R&B
need
shirt
one.
eventually. But right now, the Comicstorian shirt's what you should be going for. It'll be on the screen right now. It's a Flash-themed Comicstorian shirt coming up with my favorite catchphrase that I have now made my own. You have best thing coming out of DC Rebirth. I have Crack-a-cacoom.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Have you not heard me do it?
I've heard you do that, but
I mean,
is that
if I
when the
do it now,
lightning-
it's going to peak the mic.
Is that
like
like when
crazy.
the lightning strikes?
Yeah. No. It's when he goes at top speed.
Crack-a-cacoom.
Right. So he'll be like, the Flash is running at top speed, and then it's like the Reverse Flash showed up and he pissed him off, and then it's like the Flash moves and you see a crack-a-cacoom.
That sounds pretty amazing.
See?
Yeah, that would work.
Because that's how they've been writing it since like the dawn of time. That's it. He cracks the lightning. He's going so quickly.
I don't know. It's like Wolverine's whole snicked.
Snick. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Everyone knows snicked or thwip.
Yeah.
Thwip is a thing.
Oh, the Spider-Man
Yep.
webbing, yeah.
So we have a Crack-a-cacoom t-shirt right here at Comicstorian to celebrate Flash and the R&B podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Funds of the sales of that shirt go to fund the vodcast.
They go to me.
They go both ways.
Do you like mythology, conspiracies, urban legends, and real-world facts that you may not have known about? Well, what you may not know is that for the last year or so, me and Gary came up with a project called the Conspiracy Cast. Then Dan, me, Gary, and Andy have all sat down and talked about these conspiracies, and it's become a podcast we do known as the Conspiracy Cast. We've been doing it on twitch.tv/eligiblemonster every Monday at 2 p.m. since it was created. Well, we have such a great response to it that we decided to make a channel based around the concepts of informing you on things you may not have known. So we made the Tales of Earth channel. And on this channel, we teach you things like what happened with sex in Rome, what is a succubus, what is Cthulhu. I give you the actual complete story of the Odyssey, and Dan did the one for Theseus and the Minotaur. We basically like to go through urban legends, mythology, history, and we try to teach you in what I call an edutainment channel. I didn't invent that. Someone else did, but I do like the idea of an edutainment channel. You learn things, but we try to make it fun and interesting. Overall, it's a fun new project that we have been working on behind the scenes, and I mentioned at the beginning of this year, well, it's been out for the last month, and I feel that now it's got enough of a backlog of content and enough of our podcast to tell you guys, if you like mythology, you like urban legends, you like weird stuff, come check it out. Come hang out with us. Let's chat. That's pretty much all I got for you. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. And Cthulhu out! Blah, 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 blah. Praise our Lord! Cthulhu!
Spider-Man was Peter Parker finally, the knowledge that his friend had been his idol this whole time. For me, the reason why I always enjoyed the character of Flash Thompson is that he is what I strove for as a soldier in comic book form. When I joined the US Army back in 2005, I joined with a bunch of people who wanted to fight for the United States in the war on terrorism in Iraq. I didn't join for anything patriotic, I won't lie. I wanted to get a degree and I thought the GI Bill was a great way to do it. But during my journey in the military, I met people of all walks of life. Some people joined the military to make money. Some did it to escape their crappy lives back at home, and some joined to fight for America. Everyone from the smartest individual to the dumbest individuals. Regardless of why you joined the military, you became a soldier. Now this is where the dreams come in. Regardless of your reasoning of being in the military, every soldier has those big dreams. What if I joined the Rangers? What if I joined the Special Forces? Do things like Black Ops and the Bourne Identity even exist? You dream that you'll be so amazing at your job that some guy is going to come down in a black trench coat and ask you to join an elite team of soldiers that will save the world. These are dreams and not the realities for most people, but we all think about it. I don't care if you're the worst soldier ever. We're bombarded with media in the forms of video games, movies, and yes, comic books. That this is a thing, that there are some super elite groups of soldiers out there and I need to join up with them. But for many of us, those dreams are shattered and they remain dreams. During my time in the infantry, I was dumb. I broke my ankle. When I went to go see the doctor about it, he told me that it was a simple sprain and to get back out there and train. Maybe at the time it wasn't broken. Maybe it was a legit sprain then, but the one thing you should never do on a sprained or broken ankle is train. I pushed through the pain. I did train. I wanted to become that elite soldier. I sprained my other ankle, putting all of my weight on it, and the doctor once again told me, "Private Potter, you sprained it. Here's some Ranger candy, also known as ibuprofen 800 milligram, and get back out there. You have a war to train for." And so I did. With two heavily sprained or possibly broken ankles, I trained over and over. Sure, I had to recover for periods, and this made running for PT insanely difficult, but I did it. I passed all of the tests, and I got on the deployment. While over there, it was a lot of boring patrols and not much happening, but things did happen in the 15 months that I was deployed. Maybe someday I'll go deeper into what actually happened there, but it really doesn't pertain to this story. Instead, what you need to know is the things that did happen made me want more. I wanted to be that super soldier. I wanted to join up with Special Forces or join up with Rangers or something. Our unit was known as the 216 Rangers and we were supposedly trained as Rangers, so why couldn't I become one? What could possibly be holding me back? Sure, I was lazy at times, and I was irritated by the simple-minded orders or the time wasted sitting around in training, but I was good at this when I wanted to be. So I went home ready to re-enlist, and I was ready to take my second tour seriously, to rise up in the ranks, to become that Ranger or Special Forces. I wanted to become Solid Snake if I could. Hey, I still enjoyed my video games, but I had that little ankle problem. And before I could re-enlist, I needed to have that looked at officially. Not by some physician's assistant, but by a legit doctor. The pain was immense and it was causing me to fall out of runs and training. And I wanted to get that fixed finally, because if I was going to take this seriously, if I was going to rise to that next level, it was time to fix my problems. And that's when I found out that my ankles weren't actually sprained or just weak. At some point in this training or deployment cycle, I had actually broken both of them. Shards of bone had broken off of both of my ankles and they had gotten lodged between the joints. I was basically dealing with shattered ankles that were barely holding themselves together. There was no hope of me joining anything that was physically intensive, like the Rangers or Special Forces. My dreams were dashed, or were they? I decided to switch to the medical field, and I joined preventive medicine. My new goal was that if I couldn't become an elite soldier, I could possibly aid those elite soldiers, and I wanted to go get a helicopter pilot's license to do that. I went to the schoolhouse and got to my new duty station, and then I got myself the surgery on my ankles. It was there that I worked out of the hospital while I was recovering, but I was getting antsy, like really antsy. A desk job is not for me, but I was in a good position. It was here that I knew that I could study and train to become a warrant officer and follow my current dream. But I got more terrible news. Due to my ankles and my injuries, even if I had passed the schoolhouse, the chances of being selected to become a pilot were slim to none. Basically, I had no chance in hell of completing everything and making this work. I would be stuck as preventive medicine until the day I retired. Well, I was also technically restricted from deploying for what I thought was 18 months, so I decided to re-enlist early to get a choice of duty station and get the hell out of that hospital. I chose to move to Fort Bragg, North Carolina, aiming for a field unit, and I figured I would go back out there and at least not sit at a desk all day. When I got there, though, I met an officer whose entire purpose was to make his career and everyone else be damned. He had it in his head that he was the major, and everyone had to listen to him, no matter what. The unit came down in orders, but they couldn't deploy. I was locking them out of a deployment since they had the exact number of soldiers to deploy, and I was unable to, unless I signed a waiver and told them that I personally felt that I was good enough to go and I would ignore doctor's orders. My dreams had been crushed twice. I didn't know what to do or where to go. I had an incredibly supportive wife, but I was lost. I couldn't be the soldier I wanted to be, so I took the deployment and went over again, only to do so much damage to my ankles over there that I needed a second set of surgeries on both ankles. Once again, stories for another time. I came home, got my surgeries, and was at a crossroads in the military. I was coming up on my 10th year, and I had only made sergeant. Due to being infantry and planning to not remain in the preventive medicine field, I hadn't prioritized getting points aimed to promote myself further. I had done things, but not enough, and the requirement to go higher in the ranks for my job would require me to grind it out hardcore. But my dreams were dead, much like I assumed they were for Flash Thompson when he lost his legs in the Iraq War. So the Army offered me one last thing: take a desk job at a hospital permanently due to my injuries and the misdiagnosis in the military a while ago. I would have plenty of time to work on extra work that would get me my promotion, or give in, return to Fort Couch. And for you non-military individuals, Fort Couch is home. I would get paid a sum of money for the rest of my life through VA, and my journey to become an elite badass soldier would end there. Since I'm making you this video, you can assume which one I took. But that brings me back to Flash Thompson, and I told you that story because I wanted you to know why I liked this superhero so much. In this day and age of comics, every publisher is looking to make new superheroes that relate to a younger demographic and to bring in a more diverse crowd. When I first joined the military, I looked to video games and movies as my idols and heroes that I should strive to be. Yes, I know they have glamorized the versions of the events, and I knew it back then. But it wasn't the idea of becoming Solid Snake. It was the ideology that he stood for. It was the ideology that heroes like Master Chief and Halo stood for. That no matter what, the job had to be done. I felt it was a good goal to aim for, because as the saying goes, shoot for the moon, and even if you miss, you'll land among the stars. But as my time in the military grew, my view on it waned. And that's when I discovered Flash Thompson and Agent Venom. Even though he was a comic book character, he was someone that was worth looking up to. You see, I'm 6'1" with tattoos all over, who's been told that I look like I was in the military. I intimidate people all day without even trying, and have been told in my civilian life that people are afraid that I'm going to snap, and they're afraid of the PTSD soldier. I've lost chances at jobs before this whole YouTube thing, and I've had very odd situations at jobs before this whole YouTube thing. Hell, even doing this YouTube thing, if somebody finds out that I was in the military, I get that reaction at times. People here on YouTube didn't know why I dyed my hair purple, and it was actually because of a sub drive over on our Twitch channel, but I discovered an interesting side effect. People seemed far less intimidated by me with it. I was approached by people, and they initiated conversations with me instead of me having to go to them. Flash Thompson losing his ability to be a hero due to injuries was something that I could relate with, and I understood where he was coming from. The option of becoming a hero again with a symbiote, to learn what it means to become a superhero, to not be viewed as an intimidating monster. This is all something that I could relate with. Yes, I know, him becoming Venom and me just getting shunned by people who think I'm going to snap is kind of completely different things, but it's the idea behind it. Sure, this is a comic book set in a fictional world, but it's the idealistic view of how things could end. Maybe, just maybe one day, I'll get to become the hero that Flash gets to be. Maybe my dreams aren't dead. I know they are, but when the hope for something better officially flickers out, what do we live for? To me, this is why I'm okay with the experiment of trying new diverse superheroes. You never know what someone is going to see in that superhero or how they're going to relate to them. It doesn't mean every experiment works, but I feel that this one did. For me, Agent Venom represents the hope that dreams could possibly not die, that you can rise above preconceived notions and become the hero that you are meant to be. Every day for me is a battle with depression. Every day I remember the friends that I've lost, the friends who have moved on. What happened to the dreams of those that we lost? Why are mine worth surviving? I overthink the actions that I did the day before and the words that I said to friends and acquaintances. I overthink what people think of me and if I should care or not. This is every morning for me. I battle it every day. I know how to handle it. I work out. I get some sunlight. I dream of things that could have been. The dreams that I had as a child to become an elite soldier, and I wonder what I lost. Fictional heroes like Agent Venom mean more to me than the average Joe because even though it's a comic book, it represents what can happen. Maybe, just maybe, I'll get a call to use a symbiote one day. Or maybe, just maybe, you at least understand me a little better. Welcome to the Comics Experiment, right here at the Comicstorian Podcast Network, live on Twitch on Thursdays, twitch.tv/Comicstorian. It's then uploaded to our Patreon and then uploaded to our YouTube, and you may be watching it at one of these locations. What about our product placement right in front of your face?
Well, I heard that we're also sponsored by G Fuel. Comics is the code. Damn it, I was just saying the code is comics.
G Fuel Comics is the code.
Hey everyone, welcome back to The Problem With, where I just spew weird knowledge onto you so that we can talk about what the issues in the world of comic books are. And today, because of the launch of the television show Loki, we're going to talk about the problem with Loki. Now, before you go into the comments down below, I haven't seen it yet. We're filming this like way in advance because we're talking about why Loki doesn't work in the comics. But today's episode is brought to you by That Hot Sauce Is. For those of you who've been on the channel for a while, you know that we launched our own hot sauce brand, a whiskey-infused, jalapeno-based hot sauce that is pretty mild and works on pretty much everything. Obviously, I'm a fan of it, otherwise I wouldn't have created it. And if you want to help us with this new endeavor, please click the link down below or click the link in our YouTube store thing if it ever works, and you can buy it directly. Now, in order to understand the problem with Loki in the comic books, we need to understand why Loki actually even works in the MCU. And you all know that I'm the comic book guy. I'm not the MCU guy. So I invited an MCU expert. How's it going?
Hey, Benny. Hi, guys. Wow, I just have to say, what an incredible intro. This guy flew with no net. There was no, you weren't reading anything.
Nope.
You just said that. I'm like Ron Burgundy. I need like my carefully worded script that I wrote on a prompter, and if I mispronounce something, it sends me into a tailspin for the next 40 minutes. How you just did that, you're a professional, Benny.
It took two takes. I gotta admit, there was two takes.
But you
in
know, that first take was flawless. If you had just followed that, you would have been just as good. I have all the respect in the world for you.
Well, I appreciate that. If you guys don't know, this is Eric Voss from New Rockstars, a channel that is much better than mine and much bigger than mine.
Increasingly sounds like a more complex figure. I think we all need a further explanation of who Victor Timely is, where he's coming from. While I have you covered on the MCU version of the character, I think we need a real expert on the comics lore. So we reached out to another YouTuber you might know, Benny from Comicstorian. Get in here.
How's it going, Eric?
Good, Benny. I'm so glad you're here. I'm relieved because there's a lot to know about what the comics have done with me.
Well, Victor Timely, to make this simple, is just Kang. So that's it. I guess I'll go.
Okay,
now.
bye.
Yeah,
This was great. Anyway, subscribe to Comicstorian. Subscribe. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so resetting the timeline here. There's got to be more to him.
Why is there 3 stories where Joker is the wingman?
He's a good wingman.
That's a lot of money.
He's a good wingman.
Oh, yeah.
Profit.
Welcome back to the break room. I'm Brandon Barrick. Who cares? Joining me today, we got a esteemed panel of folks to talk about some comic books. All the way down at the end, we got Coy Jandro.
We're esteemed.
He's very esteemed.
That's good.
Next to Coy, we got Benny Potter. He's the Comicstorian.
Comicstorian.
I panicked halfway through it.
Don't worry, Eric's been calling me the comic historian.
That's what I almost
day.
did. I think Eric projected his energy into my body, and I almost messed it up right there. And of course, we got Hector Navarro.
And I'm here so I can have a death match with Hector.
You can have a
comic
death match?
knowledge.
No way.
One of us walks out.
Okay, all right.
2 men enter. Coy leaves.
I don't know.
Welcome back to Absolutely Marvel and DC. My name is Benny. That is Sal. And today we're going to give you our opinions on Black Panther. I'm sorry, I got a weird tickle in my throat right there. Today's episode is brought to you by one of our sponsors, Into the AM. Check out this shirt. I'm getting so many compliments on this shirt. Like, I get all these crazy designs for shirts. You guys know how I find them? You know how I find them? I find companies that make awesome designs, and then I get them to sponsor us. So, all right. Let's talk about Black Panther.
Yes.
So we're not really going to run through this beat by beat. Let's just talk about it like we normally don't either anyway.
Yeah.
So, right off the bat, I'm going to say this is probably one of my favorite Phase 4 projects out of the entirety of the MCU. Yes,
Yeah.
I got Spider-Man
Yeah.
No Way Home. I got Werewolf Into the Night, Werewolf by Night,
yay.
and I got
Werewolf
Black
by Night was
Panther.
great.
Those are the only things worth your shit in Phase 4. So
No, WandaVision was really good.
Okay.
I liked Captain America: Winter Soldier. Like there,
it's different than here's what you really gotta watch because they're like on a different level.
Yeah,
Okay,
you know what it was.
If you want to go with what I like, WandaVision. I mean, I'll even say watch Moon Knight.
Loki,
Loki,
some of Moon Knight.
But if you gotta watch, like you're limited on time, the three that you gotta watch.
yeah.
Werewolf by Night, Spider-Man, and definitely Black Panther: Wakanda
Those
Forever.
are definitely the favorites. And you know why? All three of them have a very clear direction. And by the way, what? It's Everett Ross. Is he related to Thunderbolt Ross? Like,
I was wondering that when you started saying his full name. I never really thought about like his name.
Really?
It's kind of like what was it the Martha situation for Batman Superman, where even though they're both named Martha, it
they
never
have been
clicked
for
until
like 100
Snyder.
years.
Yeah.
We were all just like, and then someone went, do they have the same name? And it's like, yeah, they do.
But all right, we're going to wrap this one up. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let us know what you think about Black Panther down below. My name's Benny. That is Sal. Check out our sponsors, Gamer Subs and Into the AM, and we'll see you next time right here. Welcome back to Absolutely Marvel and DC. My name is Benny. That is Dylan, and that is Sal. And we are going to talk about a little movie that's kind of it's a little indie flick that I just heard about at the Sundance Film Festival. Have you guys heard of this great movie called The Batman?
The Batman!
The Batman!
Guys, this movie is so good.
It really is, and I want to break down this review into each of the acts so we can kind of talk about how each of these sequences come over. Because, in my opinion, and for the record, I'm saying right now, we all like the movie. This is full spoiler territory.
Yeah.
Absolutely Marvel and DC. My name is Benny. That is Hassan. And we're going to have a little bit of a debate that I saw on Twitter. But before we get into that, make sure you check out our sponsorship over at Gamer Subs. They're all behind me. You can get waifu cups, waifu shirts, sus bars, or a less chalky than their competitors energy drink. And I highly recommend it. And if you want to see us do well on this channel to continue to succeed, please consider hitting that link down below and using the code COMICS. All right, so with everything going on, people have been arguing. It wasn't arguing, but it was brought up that the DCEU... We lost Zack Snyder, how many years ago now?
Not enough. I'm kidding.
Okay, that's fine. You're allowed to be full anti-Snyder today. You can be all in. So here's what's going to happen. The reason I don't go full Snyder, bro, is I don't want to be associated with that group. Because the fact of the matter is, as well-intentioned as things like the suicide awareness are, and as well-intentioned as wanting those movies to continue are, there is a subsection of that community that is literally like, oh, Snyder! They're just insane.
Yeah,
so I've never
violent.
gone full Snyder, bro, to prevent being associated with the insane people. It's why I don't associate myself with a lot of groups, because as well-intentioned as a lot of groups are, they all go insane in like a month. I don't know if it's like a tribe mentality or what the hell it is. But
Hashtag Bring Back Young Justice has always been a pretty tame group of people on Twitter. There's only 6 of us, but we try.
hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Absolutely. My name is Benny, that is Sal, and that is Hassan. You are watching the channel Absolutely, where the guys from Comicstorian, Comic Pop, and Hassan Kader come together to chat about movies, TV shows, and comic books. Today we'll be discussing the opinions of Madam Web, the movie. I have seen it 7 times. Hassan saw it, I think, 5 times before he passed out. Sal did not see it. We thought this would be hilarious.
yeah.
I can't end this voice.
I think I'm the one who won out of this one because I didn't see it.
The worst part was you were supposed to. There was a whole talk about you were going to see it and you and I were going to review
I know. We were going to watch it on Twitch, and I just didn't.
It just really hurt your heart, didn't it, Ben?
Well,
I know. Wait, hold on. So you didn't, just because the Twitch stream went down, that's why you didn't see it?
Did it go down? Because I was going to go look for it. Oh,
it went down the next day.
That makes sense.
It's okay. It's gone down twice. It'll come back up. For those of you who don't know, just like back during the Morbius days, there's a Twitch stream called Madam Web 24/7, where they are looping a bootleg version of Madam Web. And people are watching it in droves because nobody wants to pay for this movie.
Well, that was my argument. I even said it in the video. Normally, I do not tell people to go watch bootlegs. My argument is if you want a product to succeed, you give them your money. I've always said this at the beginning. If you don't like Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, don't buy it. Don't talk about it.
Yep.
That's how it goes away. Madam Web is similar. If we don't want Sony to make movies or re-release Madam Web like Morbius, don't pay for it. Don't talk about it.
Yep.
Now, we have to talk about it because it's our job. Like, we don't have that option.
Yeah.
But I can avoid paying for it, and I refused to, so I found a bootleg, and it's the first bootleg I have watched in like 10 years.
Yeah.
Also, to be fair, for me, I did go to the theaters to see it. I have AMC stubs, so technically my tickets are free. But even more technically, I picked a different movie every time I went. I never paid for Madam Web. I never will. I hope Sony, that studio, that little area just burns down. I hated that movie so much. That's such a horrible experience.
Well, Zonical and I are huge comic book fans, and we wanted to start bringing you lots of comic book content. But we didn't want to flood our video game channel with it and, scare away all the video game nerds. So we wanted to bring a channel for the comic book nerds. Because some people are just like us, and video comic nerds. Video comic nerd. I've combined them. That's what that is, a video comic nerd. We're video comic nerds, and we want you to be too. So what kind of content can you find here? Well, you're going to be able to find the complete stories to recent universe-changing events such as the Flashpoint event in Avengers vs. X-Men, and things such as Superior Spider-Man and Justice League Origin Story, or Forever Evil. We're also going to bring you our opinions on the latest movies, such as Captain America Winter Soldier, Guardians of the Galaxy, and the new Man of Steel 2, or Justice League as we're all calling it. So that combined with all the comic book news that we're going to be bringing you, and our weekly comic book podcast, or bi-weekly, depends on whenever we decide to actually make it come out finally. We're hoping that you'll become just as big a video comic nerd as we are. So welcome to Comicstorian, and I hope to see you around for a very long time. Make sure you subscribe, like, and favorite.